let's focus on activating Puerto Rico. Are we kicking this off? I think we're just going to take a moment. All right. We don't have a ton of time here, but the whole focus here of Restart is in this idea of kind of a reboot. Turning it on, activating it, getting it started. And there's a lot of work to be done. Puerto Rico, 30% of the island is still without power by landmass, 10% of the households. Hurricane season is about to begin, and the ocean's temperatures rising have increased the likelihood of a strong storm like Maria by 60%. And so it'll keep happening, given a sufficient amount of time. And so, it's a lot of things, like not just doing things sustainably, doing things regeneratively. How do you build things that can withstand 150-mile-an-hour winds? A lot of the incumbent infrastructure is broken or dilapidated and needing of, an upgrade. So there's just so much, where there's a problem, there's an opportunity. And so tremendous amount of opportunity. Where are your focuses, and where do we begin? I mean, there's so much that can be done, so much that needs to be done.
Yeah, and I come from a background of international sustainable development, and what was excellent about participating in this forum was that there was a focus on engaging the local communities and learning about the initiatives that are already on the ground and that are homegrown. So even though I agree that this place, Puerto Rico, is an amazing place for opportunity, it's not just opportunity to come in and make suggestions and impose solutions, but this whole format was about listening and engaging with the community, hearing about those local issues, and hearing about people that are already working in this space to learn how any efforts that were coming into Puerto Rico, especially ones that are technology-based, could integrate into the boots already on the ground and make the most impact at creating transformative change. What was also really impressive is within this format of inviting local organizations and inviting local leaders to hear what they had to say, is that there was so much synergy from individuals that were coming out of the outside of the technology space. April, who works with the Heartland organization, which is a co-op of permaculture initiatives that was looking to transform local agricultural solutions. She said that permaculture is to farming like crypto is to fiat. So hearing from her and hearing from all of these other organizations that are really disrupting these existing paradigms was amazing. And so my participation in Restart Week and Activate Puerto Rico was really seeing that and getting excited about that.
Yeah, on the agriculture front, 70% of the produce in Puerto Rico is imported. A lot of it from California, which makes no sense. We're talking rainforest fertile, ground. If you left the island alone for a little while, it would be full rainforest. So they had wonderful agriculture business. The sugar barons came down and tore up the agriculture, planted the sugar cane when sugar cane was no longer the hot commodity. Eventually it's all kind of dissipated. So there's incredible, opportunity to restart or to upgrade in that particular case. I mean, they shouldn't be importing they should be a net exporter.
Well, my name is Edwin Melendez. I'm the director of the Center for Puerto Rican Studies, and what we are trying to do for the last 3 years is to organize the diaspora really to go back to Puerto Rico and help. And one of the things we do is to coordinate that effort from the perspective that it has to be homegrown, that anything that we do with them, you can't go there in a parachute. You have to have local contacts and local engagement and let them set up the agenda that you want to work with. Many of you don't know that the Puerto Rican community is about 9 million people. Over 60% of them reside in the diaspora, and that has been accelerated over the last decade or so. Prior to Maria, more than half a million Puerto Ricans migrated to the U.S. We estimate at the center that over the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to have an equal exodus of people, about 500,000 in 2 or 3 years. So it's an amazing amount of people that are living in Puerto Rico, and we need to find the connections to that community. That community is now dispersed all over the United States. We don't have an information hub, so that's what we're trying to do. And technology and the people around this panel are helping us try to weave together together that network so that we can communicate among each other and then try to support Puerto Rico. Part of what we do is a series of conferences that we call Puerto Rico Puerto Ricans, meaning that everything that happens in the island affects all of us, all 9 million. And we're trying to bridge to other communities to help us in that effort of organizing. We have launched a website, it's called Rebuild Puerto Rico. You're all invited to go there. As you go Centro PR, for Center for Puerto Rican Studies, you can find the digital platform that we have launched. Just last Friday, we had a conference with over 100 organizations represented in the so-called Diaspora Summit. We have about 30 panelists coming from the island, and now we're going to replicate that conference in Puerto Rico June 15th. It's an opportunity to meet all the people that are active in the movement, from agriculture to digital platforms to energy, education, and so on and so forth. So you're all invited to come. We need all the help that we can get. So thank you for thinking about that.
So hi, hello? All right, cool. Good afternoon. My name is Paul McCulloch, and I'm a cybersecurity technology lawyer. So some of you might be asking, why the heck am I on stage here? I grew up in Puerto Rico. I have been advising many of the companies launching in Puerto Rico. Also, in terms of not Puerto Rico related business, I advise 30 global regulators on understanding new technologies, drafting laws for those technologies, and helping companies comply with those laws. So I'm a regulation nerd, and there is a tremendous amount of opportunity in Puerto Rico for the developing technology framework, for legislation, and for helping companies get down there and take advantage of the benefits that are not just Act 20 and 22, but a tremendous amount of technology talent that is hungry for opportunities. And so I was actually there, like many of us, just a few days. Actually, I flew in last night because this conference was in Puerto Rico as well. And I mentioned there that one of the best ways for companies to engage the island and to make sure your business lands with a lot of power is doing three things. One, if you've got a new technology, fit it in a context. You know, just like cryptocurrency is set against the 1946 Howey test. You know, Howey didn't think about cryptocurrency. You have to contextualize your technology, and then you can have a conversation with the regulators. Now, educate the regulators in Puerto Rico, just like any country you're going to. Help them understand the technology, draft laws for it, but really, collaboration is the key. Because when you collaborate with the people on the ground, different organizations, you collaborate with other groups in your sector, you can create standards. So the government, if they're working on building standards, you could be the standard setting mechanism saying, well, we have 100 cryptocurrency companies here, and here's the proposal for a crypto. Or we are working on...
And by the way, in the background, you can see this is using mobile phone data, all the migration of Puerto Ricans, red being leaving, blue coming back. You can actually see... Then that's September of 2017, and this in the background will go through September, October, November, and you can see the brain drain happening in droves.
And actually, this is perfect that you bring it up at this point, because I think, Edwin, you mentioned you're weaving together a network, and this is critical at this time. When you do go down there, there are a lot of other initiatives, and weaving together a network, not just of companies on the island, but the people that have left the island and are looking to come back. Puerto Rico is an island of diaspora. I mean, it was like the French Huguenot diaspora in the south. There was a Lebanese diaspora. There were the Spaniards and the Americans. We're a mix of everyone. I don't know if so I grew up there, and it's people of all shapes, sizes, colors, and it's an amazing place. But at the same time, there are a tremendous amount of resources on the mainland and on the island, so that when you work with the regulators, you have background, you have the support to be able to make your company land with a bang and integrate with the people and the culture there and grow from the ground up. Because, and here's the last point, it is an island that has been colonized over and over and over. And Puerto Rico 3.0 is not a colony. It's a macro grid electronic infrastructure on top of the old infrastructure. It's a cryptocurrency infrastructure amidst a currency that is being reviewed by fiscal boards and things like that for entrenched political interests and corruption for a while. Puerto Rico 3.0 is an opportunity to build an island that is not another colony in technology, but an island of the people and technology. And I think that a lot of the people here and a lot of people on the island are doing some amazing work to make that happen.
Yes.
So there's a lot of X going on right now. We got RestartX. We've got Digital Raign. I'm James Hanusa from Digital Raign out of San Francisco. We're launching a X series at the Esalen Institute, Exponential Humanity. We're also forwarding an idea we're calling X-Tech, which is exponential technology with a focus on serving humanity. So we don't need more technology that is not helping the people where we need it around the world. So yeah, let's make that happen. I was down at the Startup Society Summit in DC last week. Some of those folks went down to PR for Restart West. Some came up here to Blockchain Week NYC. Some went to Catapult Future Festival in Norway. Some went to Voice and Exit in Austin. What I'm trying to say is that there is an organism that's starting, a constellation of communities. Everyone's taking on and bringing to the party what they can. What happened at Startup Society Summit is we launched an impact accelerator. We got 35 submissions in a week for demonstration projects on the ground that ranged from anywhere from getting 70 clinics connected to satellites and backup power and regenerative energy systems. What else? The clinics. There's a lot of Tesla's transferring a lot of their projects on the ground to local ownership, and the list goes on. There's 50 organizations, both Puerto Rican and U.S., that have committed to doing something together down there. So there's a lot of momentum, and that's carried through, I know, Restart Week West and here in New York this week. One of the things that was launched there as well is a bit of a challenge, saying, what would a moonshot for humanity look like? And we said, what if we could solve for all the SDGs, the integrated SDGs, by 2020 for as much of the population in Puerto Rico as possible together? To set an example for the world, do it there once, and then copy and paste, take that community that did it in Puerto Rico and with the Puerto Rican population that has their local know-how, take that to other communities of need. And some people on the panel said, no, that's not possible. You can't do anything by 2020. I'm looking around. I know there's a lot of burners in the room. I'm seeing a picture of Black Rock City over there.
We are possible.
We are possible. I looked at this. So Ponce seems to be a place where a lot of energy is growing from the Startup Society's summit to have a focus there. Population's 150. Population of Black Rock City's 70,000. So we're just talking double Black Rock City. Black Rock City goes up in 3 months, basically, and for some people think it goes up in a week, but that's very doable, in my opinion. And the last thing I want to mention is towards that moonshot effort, Byzantine Network has made a commitment to help fund some of the organizational work to bring that consortium further over the next 3 months. So we're very appreciative for their contribution, and they're looking to support other organizations to make more projects happen on the ground in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, for those that want to contribute, there's a number of organizations where you can do that, and those that need it to be done tax deductibly. We do have, we were gifted a 501c3 down there, which we just made the first announcement a couple of days ago. It was we made a $50,000 contribution to the University of Puerto Rico Mayagüez to basically help with the rebuilding the library, maker sort of studio stuff. But we've got a really good relationship with the university down there. And for those of you that don't know, this is where NASA, Exxon, Facebook, Google, et cetera, come to recruit engineers. It's one of the best engineering schools in the country. There's Puerto Rico is not without talent. More artists per capita than any other place in the United States. More military service per capita, except for maybe the Marshall Islands, but that's 30,000 people. I mean, you've got, these are people that know how to build. These are people that know how to create. Again, they know how to do it all. Just, some of these resources for anyone that wants to contribute, there's channels by which you can do that.
And I actually just wanted to add, in terms of, you're right, there's a constellation of communities. There's a tremendous number of companies, and people are asking, how do I get involved? There are a few different websites. One of them is actually being propped up next week, which is basically if you have an initiative on the island, you say what your initiative is. If you're working with one of the private equity firms getting financing, a public-private partnership, or a 501c3, but you're saying what you're involved in. And essentially, the best part about that is it can help track some funding, provide some visibility into that, because accountability is a critical component when we've been speaking on the Hill, and also in general. But the other component is look at all the solar power companies. They're installing solar panels, and then the next thing is, all right, well, who's doing microgrids? Who's doing macrogrids? Who's creating the app apps to be able to track macro grid energy transfer on the island. They're all there, they're not talking to each other. So once they're in there, because of the tagging, basically we can identify, I'm a solar company, and here are the other solar companies I can deal with and that work with, creating microgrids, macrogrids, and accelerates it. And the goal is a model from the relief, recovery, and resiliency viewpoint that can be replicable in other countries, in other places. So right now in Hawaii, when the volcano wipes out communications capacities, what is the great best technology to have one phone talk to another based on Bluetooth? I mean, there are 3 different popular mesh applications. One is Android only, one is iPhone only. Regardless, it's a replicable model. We're taking the lessons of Puerto Rico. We're taking the collaboration ideas and the tremendous ideas that everyone is bringing to the island. The things that Brock has been doing on the island are amazing. Everyone's coming together, and we want to be able to replicate this model, create better societies around the world. But Puerto Rico is a great place to start.
I'm just going to step in real quick. One thing that we're very interested in is, so the blockchain community, crypto community, awesome, doing amazing stuff, talking about bringing different models to light. One of my favorites, and I think it's true for many others, Buckminster Fuller, said, you never change things by fighting the existing reality to change something. Build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. We talk about, our shorthand for that is throw a better party. And we are going to be doing that tonight, so we encourage you to invite your friends tonight. We feel like there's the possibility and almost like the 10 Principles of Burning Man, a set of expectations that if you're going to throw a party with impact. And so that's what tonight and today is about for Puerto Rico. And we need your help getting the right people here that are on the same frequency to make it fun and to get shit done.
You're here. We got the background. Again, some wonderful people. I had on, for the morning, I had on the EduBlock shirt, but, we're engaged with the students. The youth will inherit the earth, and, long term, you need to be engaged with the next generation. And we've already encountered just incredible young people that are building out the entrepreneurial programs that dream in a place where dreams weren't very possible. This whole brain drain and people leaving. The hurricane has caused 500,000 people to leave that leave with the intellectual capital, the human capital, and the financial capital, but it's not just at those with the means to leave that have been leaving, and this is why a place like New York is so important. Puerto Rico, there's a lot of Puerto Rico in New York, and so, as a community, connecting with the local Puerto Ricans here and, help getting more of them involved would be a wonderful thing, but it's also at the youth. If you're graduating, you have ambition and you're getting out of school right now and you have an entrepreneurial dream, that dream hasn't really been possible without leaving. You haven't had any, real angel investors down there. You haven't had a bunch of startup mentors and advisors. You haven't had, venture funds. There's like one company that's raised $3 million. And so if you don't have any examples, from which to follow, you're gonna go find it elsewhere. But these are the things that this community can bring down to Puerto Rico. We can bring the tools and the resources to enable the dreams. Hopefully as many of these young people as possible, so that the brain drain is not just happening. It's happening at all levels. But at least give people the option to stick around if they want. And some wonderful youth that's been in these pictures. I just want to give a shout out for those EduBlock, entrepreneurs, dreamers. If there's anything else anyone wants to cover, great. But let's, if you have any questions or there's anything that you want to, just quickly say, this is what I want to bring down here. This is my gift. One of the main things, though, again, is a lot of people want to airdrop in with their idea, not having done the work, not having done the research. And so, if you don't know what you're talking about, don't impose your vision. As I always tell everyone, the first thing you do when you come down there is take a proper tour of the island. It is enchanting. It is beautiful. It is so full of life and so many wonderful things, but get to know its people and its culture. I mean, wonderful, wonderful human beings, wonderful, deep, rich culture going back, thousands of years, going back to the Taínos when Columbus arrived to everything that it's become over the years. It's a wonderful place, and don't be arrogant enough to like just say, hey, here's how it should be done. If you haven't been down there for years, you don't know what you're talking about. So make sure you find those people that want to solve the same problems, that have a similar vision, but maybe different skills, different resources, and you figure out how to collaborate with those people. And so if you have something you want to bring down, it's more about not what your project is, it's talking about what problem you want to solve, and it's who do I need to connect with so that I'm talking with an expert on the ground that actually knows what they're talking about. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're Puerto Rican, but there's someone that's been down there long enough to know what's up.
Yeah, I would absolutely co-sign on that. And the Restart event that I think a lot of us were at last week, really underscored the fact that there are so many people that are already working to address those problems. So if you have a solution, I would ask that you engage and learn and listen, because there's so much opportunity there to collaborate and make even more of an impact.
I will say that there's a lot of opportunity, but there are a lot of people that are doing all kinds of things. We have a vast network of resources that we make available to any one of you who want to partner with people down there, from agriculture, a farm-to-table movement, education reform, and Montessori schools, and you go on and on. Solar energy is one area that is booming. So there are so many things happening. People are standing up from the ashes, so to speak, and this is a great moment to go there and meet partners and make some money too.
And actually, just building upon that in terms of the opportunities on the island, there are some organizations that have taken advantage of the opportunities and created, Startup Chile went and created Parallel 18, which has been a tremendously successful accelerator on the island. And it's one of the very few. There's Engine Number 4, which is in association with, I think, GE, Honeywell, and a few other. And the engineering and the tech talent is great, and we all want to build something great. And again, you're wondering why there's a lawyer up here. I advise many of these companies. What I'm working on is lowering the hurdles to compliance and working with regulators to try and provide clarity on a lot of regulations, but also creating standardized documents for different contracts and such on the island. I mean, again, you should find out people on the island and do the research and understand how business is done on the island and so on. It's really a beautiful place to do work. But the other thing is, we're trying to make it easy. Myself, and if there are any lawyers in the audience that want to work with me and teams of lawyers that we're doing this, we're lowering the barriers to building a company, to launching it properly, and to actually getting things done, because that's honestly a major hurdle that a lot of these companies have been facing.
Amazing. Brock, wanted to thank you for your leadership. You've created a lot of momentum in the entrepreneurial community, the blockchain, crypto community, and that ethos of listening first and getting into community and understanding the issues and relationships is great.
It sounds like there's a Restart South, in Ponce in our future.
That sounds fantastic. And yeah. Nancy Santiago Negron wants it to have a festival feel too. And she's
more festival feel.
Yeah, okay. Centro, I think, an academic partner like you, I was at your conference for a day on Friday. I picked up about 7 pamphlets and reports and all that type of stuff. Great way to get up to speed on the history and the current and different economic issues, cultural issues, etc. Let's partner in whatever way we all can. I'm just going to finish this, is that we're starting. So we invited the governor's office and the mayor's office here today. The mayors of New Orleans are working with Puerto Rican mayors. So there's this constellation kind of on the government level that's coming in. There's a number of impact investor and foundation service tours that are happening in the next 2 months. Down there, we're reaching out to potential corporate partners that have sustainable development goals and saying, like, you know what, go do it down there if that's in your mission. So there's a number of other institutional types of folks outside of the entrepreneur community that we are inviting in and aligning with to see how we can do this together, kind of a mass collaboration style and in community. And I think, for me, why am I doing this? It's an opportunity to see like what's possible from a collective human endeavor at a scale that I've been training for like 10, 20 years. So I want to see what I can do in community, play my part, and I think invite all of you to do the same. It's a stone soup type of scenario, and it only gets better the more we can bring to it.
Well, I think we're out of time, unless there's anybody that had any final questions or you wanted anything that you want to throw out there and say, hey, I've got this. Tell me where do I got to go to put it to work? Yeah, go for it. We're connected. We'll make sure that we invite Hernando down to the next restart and try to make sure that we have him engaged. I mean, he's been very involved in the crypto space, and he normally makes it to that part of town on the British Virgin Islands. He's been a frequent visitor of Necker, but there is no Necker right now, at least maybe not till the fall. I don't think we have a date. I mean, it's a matter of who wants to get involved in Anchor One. I know we're talking about September as a possibility for another event, but again, this is a decentralized, sort of community collaborative building. I mean, there's no one that owns this is a movement. We have some ethos, we have principles by which we hope everyone follows, and that's just inclusion. You study the Burning Man principles and you'll basically get how most of these communities work. But it's who wants to sign up? it's who wants to take the reins and make it happen.
And formally, if you wanted to get involved, you can go to the restartweek.org website and of course engage that way.
But yeah, we're looking at something September again on the west side, but south side,
July has been in a
July
conversation.
Sooner better. I love it. July sounds great. No, sooner better. Well, first of all, follow us on Twitter. Get to the website, and what are your superpowers? What are your unique gifts? What are the things that you can bring? That you're bringing to the world. But how can you apply that gift to Puerto Rico? Because this is why I could go live anywhere, could go do most anything right now, but I want to be going places where my time is having an impact. I want to know that I'm getting the most bang for my most valuable asset of time, and Puerto Rico is the place that's called to me. And you get involved and try and do it there. New York. I love New York. Love the Big Apple. Nothing against New York, but New York is doing just fine. The East and the West Coast for the most part are doing pretty well. There are many parts of the United States that are not doing so well, and Puerto Rico in particular don't even have their basic needs met, and hurricane season about to start again. So, if you want to know that your time is leading to a positive impact that if done well, is going to improve the lives of others. That's my attitude, to sign me up.
And it depends on how exactly you want to get involved. So if you're developing something that you want to bring to Puerto Rico, that's one thing. You can engage not only in this community, but the communities that are there in Puerto Rico. But from being a participant in Restart Week, again, there were so many initiatives and organizations that are already operating that could certainly use support. They're working from the nonprofit space and reaching out to them and supporting them if you have a particular interest in whether it's energy or agriculture or community building or clean water. There are so many organizations that could certainly use help and support. And of course, there's many ways that you can support a nonprofit organization. So as all of that information in these organizations become highlighted on a website, again, follow all of the social media channels, and we should really work to start emphasizing who those people are who have been involved in Restart Week so that you all can reach out and support them in any way that you can.
Yeah, it starts with signing up, join that Telegram group, Twitter here, and then ultimately showing up.
But I think we're out of time. Any other questions? No? Okay.
Thank you. Activate.